student Susan Bacon is suing her ex-boyfriend, Paul Olberg, for check fraud. Paul says the incident in question is the bank's fault.
Order, all rise. Yeah, this is case number 529 on the calendar in the matter of Bacon versus Olberg. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Bacon, this is a pretty confusing case for me, so let me try to understand it. Mr. Olberg used to be your boyfriend. Do you have a child together?
Yes, we do.
A couple of years ago, you claimed that he deposited a check for $4,000 into your checking account.
Actually, for $4,500.
$4,500. Without your permission.
Or knowledge, that's correct.
Then he told you about it, and he said, well, I did it already, and I'm sorry, whatever he said. Could you take out the money for me? And you said, okay. And you went to the bank, and you withdrew
$4,000.
$4,000 of the $4,500 and gave it to Mr. Olberg.
Yes.
Then you say that you were notified that this check that he deposited never cleared.
Yeah, that's true.
So you want the $4,000 back.
Exactly.
I don't know what he says. I read his answer, and I'm not exactly sure what he says. But I have a few questions for you. On what date did he deposit this check in your account?
I'm not sure the date. The date on the check was February 14th.
Well, your bank statement would show you on what date he deposited it in your account.
Yes, I don't have that with me. I do have a copy of the check that was deposited, though.
How much money did you pay back to the bank?
I paid them back $600, and I have a receipt for that.
Let me see it.
Also attached to this is the letter from the bank stating what the unpaid balance is.
I don't care what the letter from the bank is. We're talking 2.5 years ago. Let the bank go after him. I don't understand why you're here looking for $4,000. He didn't take $4,000 of your money. He took $4,000 of the bank's money.
Right, but because I withdrew the money, the bank is charging me for the money.
So you paid $600, right? And you paid this 2 years ago. And you've paid nothing since.
No, actually, that was before I knew it was forgery.
Miss Bacon, did you go to the police?
Yes, I did. As soon as I found other checks that had been written out to me.
Yes, and what did the police do?
The police took a report, and I went back to the police a few months ago, and they said that there was never anything going to be done about it because they don't have the manpower to take care of a low-priority crime.
Sir, listen to me. You better get in touch with this bank and pay the money. You understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Uncross your legs, take your hands off the desk, and stand up and take the smile off your face. You gave her a bad check. Why?
I didn't realize it was bad at the time.
Yes, you did. Sure you did. Of course you did. Of course you knew it was a bad check. You ever been arrested?
I have, yes.
When was the last time you were arrested?
That would have been last year.
For what?
It was for theft.
Theft of what?
Credit card.
Has that case been resolved?
It has.
Whose credit card did you steal?
Oh, it was a gentleman.
Where did you steal it from?
Bellingham, Washington.
That's a place.
Yes.
Where did you steal it from on his person?
Actually, I did not steal it from this person. There was another person involved that actually gave the credit card to me.
And what did you do with the credit card?
I actually withdrew money out of the bank with it.
Really? So this is something that you know how to do, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you given probation for that case?
I was.
That's unfortunate. Maybe you won't be so lucky this time. You see, her problem is that I'm not satisfied that this money is going to find its way to the bank. Because the last communication she's had with the bank was 2 years ago. They've probably written this off as a bad debt.
It is in my credit.
It's probably been written off as a bad debt, right?
Yes.
Of course.
I would like paid. And I haven't been able to have a checking account since this time.
Well, the question is, any check that is made would have to be made directly to the bank. Good. Now, Mr. Olberg, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to tell me why I should not order a check by you to Washington Mutual Bank for the amount of $4,083.
Okay, I admit writing the check. I wrote the check. That's not what Now, what the money was used for is what I'm debating. She has an entire house full of furniture that was paid for with that money. Plus, she had $800 to $1,000 given to her in cash.
Oh, that's interesting, Miss Bacon. Did you use any of this money, any of this $4,000 to purchase furniture for your home?
No, I did not.
Tell me how that happened, Mr. Ohlberg.
We both went shopping for the furniture. We were living together at the time, and she has an entire house full of furniture that was paid with that money. Bed, couches, end tables, dining room table, etc.
Actually, I have a number of addresses for Mr. Ohlberg, and he also, when he was arrested, I came to find out that he had been using my address for...
Bacon, you're not going to deflect what he just said. He says that this $4,000 was used and you purchased things with the $4,000 that you are currently using or did use in 2000. Is that true?
I did not. He did buy some furniture, but I had no idea where the money came from and if it was from that check.
Okay. Now, you were notified by the bank practically immediately. Is that right?
It was over a month later. And in regard to that furniture, I told him, regardless of where the money came from, that I would be more than happy to let him have the furniture back because I didn't want any problems with the bank.
No.
But I didn't want any responsibility.
No. Why didn't you
with
sell
that.
the furniture?
I tried to. The furniture he bought from a furniture store that was going out of business. It wasn't quality furniture, and I could not sell it. I've tried at a number of garage sales to sell it.
Miss Bacon, what you're saying to me is that you want both this debt cleared up and you knew a month later that there was a problem with this check. That's not to say that he's not wrong, 100% wrong. He should be prosecuted and he should be in jail. Because I know of 2 instances now where he's committed fraud. One that he was arrested for and convicted of, and one today. And I've only known him for 5 minutes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He's been on the run. He's been in jail.
Actually, I spent a prison sentence.
How long?
4.5 years.
That must have been some burglary.
Actually, it was quite a few counts, yes.
And later today,
The right way is to put it behind these barriers so that it won't roll off the sidewalk into somebody's car.
I've seen other people put their carts on the sidewalk. I didn't think it was against the law to leave
Do you
your car
see
on
these
a
people
sidewalk.
laughing at you? They're laughing at you.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Susan Bacon says, unbeknownst to her, ex-boyfriend Paul Ohlberg deposited a phony check into her account. Susan says Paul then had her withdraw the money.
Okay. So the chances are that he's done this his whole life and that there are probably 100 other instances where he's committed similar frauds and does similar things with checks, perpetrated fraud on other people. But you can't enjoy the fruits of this, which you did, and then come back and say, I want the help of the court. You have to do whatever you can to pay back the bank yourself, which includes selling the furniture. Did he give you cash?
The cash, he did not give me any cash ever.
How much cash did you give her, Mr. Ohlberg?
The end there, I gave her between $800 and $1,000.
What do you mean the end there? What does that mean, the end there?
Actually, towards the end, after we went shopping for the furniture. The furniture itself came to almost $1,800.
Right.
And that consisted of a queen-size bed, full
Don't
living
go
room
into it.
set.
$1,800. We have a lot more left. We have $2,200 left.
Right.
Go ahead.
And another $800 to $1,000 was given to her to pay bills, etc.
Yeah.
We were both living together at the time.
Well, then it wasn't given to her. You used it for paying bills if you were living together.
I did give it to her. I
don't care whether you gave it to her and she wrote the check. They were your bills.
They were not for my bills. She
Why?
did not pay my bills with the money.
You're talking about rent? You're
I have
talking...
no idea what she did with the money, Your Honor.
Ooh, let's see.
We haven't been together since actually September of '97, and I have a
Miss
letter
Bacon,
from
I don't
our
believe
attorney.
that.
I have a letter from our attorney that we had at the time when we
Yeah.
had a lawsuit
So what?
because of our recent separation.
Listen to me. You're trying to pull one over on me, madam.
No.
You were together in the year 2000 because in 2000 you went shopping for furniture. You just admitted that to me.
No, we have a child together, and he did me a favor as far as I knew. It wasn't a favor if he's doing this to my bank. He told me if I did anything about it, that he would say that I was in on the furniture, and when I knew nothing about it, I didn't know that anything was wrong with this money until I heard from the bank.
That was within a month. Now you're coming to court 3 years later. Tell
Right.
me why.
Because a lot of the time during the last 3 years, he's been on the run, he's been missing, he's been in jail.
When was he in jail?
Currently, I don't even know
When
where
was
he
he in
lives.
jail?
Last May.
For how long?
I don't know. He was gone for 11 months before he called from jail.
He called for what?
I don't know why he called. We do have a daughter, but he apparently was in the same town for the whole 11 months and never called her.
Okay, Mr. Ohlberg, $600 she gave to the bank, to their loss management department. That you owe her directly. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Where are you working now, sir?
I'm actually laid off right now.
How are you supporting yourself?
It's
not an answer.
I've applied for unemployment.
Well, looks like you're eating okay. Who's feeding you?
I'm feeding myself.
From what?
Money I've saved.
Money you've saved from what?
From construction.
Actually, he doesn't pay any child support.
Just a second. Were you in jail for 11 months last year?
No, I was in jail for 2 months.
For what? Credit card?
The theft, yes.
In the year 2001, were you incarcerated?
No.
2000?
No.
Prior to this past year, when were you incarcerated?
That would have been 10 years previous to that.
For what?
That would have been that was burglary.
How long were you in jail for burglary?
Actually, I spent a prison sentence for that.
How long?
4.5 years.
That must have been some burglary. That wasn't your first.
Actually, it was quite a few counts, yes.
Quite a few counts. That's sort of interesting. What do you mean quite a few counts?
There were 15 total.
There were 15 separate indictments, and they let you plead to one.
Actually, 3.
And when did you pick this winner? At what point in your life?
It was December of 1989.
So he had not been to jail yet.
He apparently had just been out of prison for about a year, but he didn't tell me that. I didn't know for quite a long time after we'd been together.
Okay.
Max?
You owe her $600, and you're going to get $3,400 in a check to Washington Mutual Loss Management Department. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Got it? Good. Thank you very much. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I had tried to work things out with him before.
She's got an entire household full of furniture that was paid with the money from the check. Now she's getting the check paid back.
He's the father of my child.
I think she got her cake and ate it too.
I have tried to maintain a friendship for her sake.
Well, as you get older, you grow more responsible.
I'm really glad to have this part of my life done, out of the way, put behind me, and go on.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Sims versus Cruz. Step forward, please.
Serviceman Billy Sims is suing the daughter of his late father's girlfriend, 21-year-old Christina Cruz. Billy says Christina stole a cell phone off of his father's dead body.
Mr. Sims, your father passed away in June of this year?
That's correct, Your Honor.
According to your complaints, he passed away. He had a heart attack in his car.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And the defendant was in the car with him, along with her boyfriend?
I'm not exactly sure if she was either in the car or if she was following behind him in another vehicle, but they were traveling together.
How did they know each other, do you know?
The defendant's mother had a relationship with my father.
Is that right? So your mom and his dad
were dating.
When his father had the heart attack, were you in the car with him?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh. And this is all about a cell phone.
That's correct.
Because it is your claim that the defendant took your dad's cell phone after he had the heart attack and died.
Yes, Your
in
Honor.
their presence
Yes,
in the
Your
car.
Honor.
And Ms. Cruz says that she has the cell phone, but that he gave it to her.
Okay.
June what did your father pass away?
It was June the 18th of this year, Your Honor.
What time?
I have a copy of his death certificate.
May I see it, please?
Sure. The coroner put his time of death at about 2:30 p.m. Of course, the...
Okay. Did there ever come a time when you got property that was on his person at the time that he died?
Yes, Your Honor.
When was that?
The following day, on the 19th, that morning, the county coroner called me and my brother to come and get his personal effects. Now, we had to get his vehicle.
Okay. What personal effects did you pick up?
Okay, I picked up his wallet, his checkbook.
Okay, wallet. Was there anything in the wallet?
His identification and some of those things.
Any cash?
There was no cash in his wallet, Your Honor.
Do you know where your father was going on the 18th of June?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. He was doing, my father was retired. He spent most of his time just doing yard work for people, doing handyman jobs really for little or no pay. And he was assisting the defendant's mother on doing some of this work.
Okay. When was the last time you had spoken to your father from the cell phone?
The morning before his death, probably maybe about an hour or an hour and a half before his actual death.
Did you call him or did he call you?
He called me twice, Your Honor.
From his cell phone. Prior to that, for what period of time had your father had this cell phone?
He's probably had the phone almost 2 years he's had this cell phone, Your Honor.
And is that the phone that he uses primarily for his communication with you?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, now, Ms. Cruz, it is your claim, your defense, and you say you do have the phone, and you did use the phone, but that it was a gift to you.
Yes, Honor.
Now, I'd like you to tell me your version of the events when Mr. Sims' dad picked you up, because that's what happens. He picked you up along with this person?
Yeah.
Who was this
my
person?
Witness. Oh, that's my boyfriend.
So let me hear. He came and picked you up at your mom's home?
No, he came over my house and picked us up, and we were going to go swimming. But first, we were going to do some stuff for my mama.
Okay. Now tell me about the cell phone.
And he took me and my boyfriend to the side and
To
said...
the side of what?
Of his truck.
Yes.
And said, y'all are like my kids and everything, and I'm going to give you my cell phone. What we have a deal. You pay me $50 a month. And we agreed on it. All three of us agreed on it.
Just a second. So you're saying he took you from the side of the truck and said, you're like my kids.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I want you to have my cell phone. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did he have another cell phone?
No, he
just had that one cell phone?
Just that one. And the house phone.
Well, but he had the cell phone. That was his cell phone.
Yeah.
And as long as you knew him, he had only used that cell phone. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that right? So on that day, he said to you, you're like my kids, I want you to have the cell phone.
Yes, Your Honor.
Liar! You're a liar.
There was other witnesses.
Bald-faced liar. You took his cell phone off his dead body.
No, he
and you
was not
probably also took the cash out of his wallet before the police got there. Not a question in my mind. Why would a man, unless he anticipates his own death, who has used a cell phone for 2 years to communicate with the rest of the world, all of a sudden take you and this person who was sitting over here and say, I want you to have my method of communication? Why in the world would he do that? You're like my kids. If you're like my kids, then he goes and buys you a cell phone and said, here's a cell phone.
No, because he got tired of carrying it around and everything.
It was too heavy. It was too, just a minute. Please do me a favor. Put your hand down. I don't have to listen to that baloney anymore. It's baloney. Could I please see the expenses that you are claiming for the cell phone?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did they use it, by the way?
Yes, Your Honor. They used it. Those 3 days, there were approximately about 400 minutes that were used. And I have those...
well, just a minute. How much was the cost?
The total cost for the cell phone minutes, it was 35 cents a minute. I don't have that itemized, but...
Well, just a minute. Did you ever get a bill from them for this?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, I want to see the bill that you got.
This has the outstanding minutes that he had left over in excess that we had to terminate because it could have been transferred over to his next of kin. That's what the first statement says. That's from the wireless people.
No. I understand what you're saying, Mr. Sims. Listen to me. What you're saying is he had sort of credits, that it didn't cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars because they took the phone, but that you as his beneficiary or next of kin could have used those minutes if you wanted to from his cell phone plan. Is that what your plan is? Get a life. Where's the phone?
We don't have it anymore.
What'd you do with it?
The guy that was staying with him, Billy, his daddy, took it. And it's my brother.
Your Honor, there was no one staying with my father. He lived alone. But we asked her the Friday when we first found out that she was the one that had the phone. When she returned the phone call, she said that we were not going to get the phone back, that she got to the phone before we did, and that he's dead, and she's just as entitled to it as...
Let me tell you something. Some people will be happy, productive, moral people their whole lives, and they will raise, hopefully, happy, productive, moral offspring. And some will not. We're not talking about a lot of money, but we are talking about those people who have the capability of being moral people and those who lack the capability of being moral people. Yes, we're talking about a $40 phone bill, which you're going to get, and let's say your father really had a state-of-the-art telephone. A really good one costs $150, is that right?
Yes,
really
Your Honor,
good
it's
one?
on the estimate.
$150 plus 40 is $190. You don't get paid for the minutes, right? And I want you to, you have to feel sorry for them. I want you to feel sorry for them. Don't be angry with them. They're never going to be able to get smarter. They're never going to get more morals that anywhere relate to what civilized people do, because anybody that could take property off a dead person, which is what they did, will never change. Because I don't believe that anybody, your father's age, drives a car and rides around with not a dollar in his wallet.
That's correct, Your Honor.
I don't believe that that happens. That doesn't happen. So if you're a debt scavenger, you're never going to change. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $190. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
We didn't took it. He gave us it.
There are people in this world that are going to act that way, so instead of being angry, pity them, and that's what I do.
I felt sorry too because he died on me.
I'm very happy with the judge's decision, and I'm glad that we can finally put this part of my father's life to rest.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Martin versus Moss. Step forward, please.
Nanny Gail Martin is suing her former employer, day spa owner Kimberly Moss, for non-payment of services rendered. Kimberly says Gail abused her 10-year-old daughter, Lauren.
Miss Martin, you answered an ad in the paper for child care and light housework that the defendant had placed in the paper. It is your claim that you worked there and you were not fully paid before she let you go.
That's correct.
Okay. The defendant says you were, in fact, fully paid. Are these the two children she was supposed to take care of?
Yes, Your Honor.
When did you answer the ad and when did you start working?
I answered the ad the first day I noticed it was in there, and there were 3 children, 2 girls and 1 boy. And I started to work on, the first week was October the 10th, and the second week was October the 15th.
Okay, what was the pay arrangement?
She told me, I told her what I got at my last job, and she said I paid $10 an hour. And after the first week, which was the Friday, but I had to come back Saturday, she only paid me the $300 from the first 3 days.
Well, whatever it was,
it wasn't enough because I had worked that first week.
The first week, how many days did you work?
4 days.
Is that correct?
I really don't remember.
Well, if you don't remember, then I have to rely on her. And the second week you worked, how many days did you work?
I worked Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. 3
And
days.
how much were you paid during that 2-week period? Yes, you were.
The whole time I worked there, she paid me $300.
Okay. How much did you pay her?
When she first came to my employment, we agreed that she would get $100 a day. And
Really, not $10 an hour?
No.
$100 a day, irrespective of how many hours she worked?
Right.
First week she worked 4 days, and you gave her how much?
Whatever it was, she
said you only gave her $300.
Well, that's not accurate. Whatever I owed her is what I paid her.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Nanny Gail Martin says former employer Kimberly Moss owes for babysitting fees. Kimberly says Gail threw her 10-year-old daughter in the shower with her clothes on.
So, what happened the second week?
The second week, she was paid up. On the last day, her car broke down. She asked if she could stay with us overnight for a couple days because she didn't have transportation to and from work. And I said that would be fine until she got her car fixed. The first morning of the night that she stayed over, there was a problem. And what happened was I was in bed. My daughter Chelsea came running to me to wake me up, telling me that Gail had put Lauren, my baby, into the hot shower with her nightgown on. So I got up and ran into her bedroom, and there she was crying, cuddled up in the corner in the hot shower. So I got in the shower with her in my nightgown and blocked the hot water from her and adjusted the temperature, and to try to reduce the trauma of what had already occurred, took a shower with her, got her out, we all got ready for school, took her to school. That is why my secretary drove her home, because if I was to confront her about it, it would have turned out ugly. So I had my secretary relieve her from, that was the last day.
Did you put the child in the shower?
No, ma'am, I would never do that to a child under any circumstances. Never. And if this did happen, how come she didn't call HRS? That's what I'd like to know. When she told me she didn't have the money.
Which child was in the shower?
The baby, Lauren, was.
Lauren? Come up here. Tell me about the shower.
I was in bed and I didn't want to get up because I didn't feel good. And then she picked me.
You mean get up to go to school?
Yeah. And she picked me up out of the bed and put me in the shower, and she turned the hot water on with my nightgown on.
No question in your mind about that?
Mm-mm.
Where was your sister?
She was in bed with me.
Had that ever happened before?
No.
Okay, go sit down. All right. Miss Moss, the plaintiff worked for you for 3 days, the second week.
Correct.
Did you pay her?
I do not remember the exact amount of time that she was under our employment.
Fine. Then I have to rely on her records for those days.
That's fine.
That she would. Now, at that point, did you fire her?
That day, absolutely.
That day, she was let go?
Absolutely.
Okay. You say not. Is that right?
No. She explained to me she was going to go to Daytona Beach with her boyfriend, and that her business that she just opened, her Kimberly's Day Spa, they do facials,
whatever.
And massages.
You were
and
told that your services were no longer necessary.
Yes, because her business hadn't taken off like she expected it to, and that she couldn't afford it. This child that's wearing that nice little Sunday school outfit, that's not what they wore when I worked there. They dressed shamelessly.
What do you mean shamelessly?
They dressed in little Daisy Dukes with half their butt poking out the bottom, and little things with their belly buttons showing, and trying to go to school like that. They were, and makeup, and they were hellions.
And what about
they were 9 and 11, going on 17.
Go ahead.
I came back on the Monday to collect some money that she owed me from that previous week. Her oldest son was changing the locks on her house door. And I said, well, what happened? He says, don't expect to find any money here. We had a break-in. Our safe was broken into, but I didn't see any black powder anywhere. So he said, we don't have any money to pay you. So why would she have to do that if she paid me the week before?
Okay.
Now,
okay.
Ergo.
Okay. You work there according to your records, and since she doesn't have any records of her own, which she should have, a total of 7 days. I am crediting her testimony that your agreement was $100 a day, and that she paid you, according to your records, which I am crediting, $300, which means she owes you $400, and I'm issuing a judgment for the plaintiff in that amount. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I didn't owe her the money, and especially since the way that she was treating the children, I don't feel that I should owe her anything.
I didn't hurt her children, and they did dress terribly.
There's no way that I could have dealt with her. You know, it would have been ugly.
Well, she told me they were spoiled when I went there. She says, I've spoiled them. Her exact words.
She did come with, credible references.
I don't think children 9 and 11 should act like they're 16 and 17.
Accountant Monica Jones is suing homemaker Martha Escada for filing false charges of hit and run. Martha says Monica totaled her car.
Order. Come to order. All rise. This is case number 199 on the calendar in the matter of Jones versus Escada. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
I'm really a little confused with this case, but we're going to make sense of it. Miss Jones, you're suing her because you say she filed false charges against you of hit and run.
Yes.
The hit and run was not against her person, but against a car that she was driving in.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
There was an incident involving the defendant.
Yes, there was.
First, tell me when the incident happened.
The exact day, it was on or about May 1st.
Tell me about it.
I was moving back into my home, and
you were moving back into your home from where?
From a corporate leasing unit.
Okay.
I rented a 26-foot U-Haul truck. I asked the guy to help me move, and he knew the defendant's boyfriend.
Did you know this person?
Not personally, no.
How did you find this person?
Just through verbal acquaintance, just seeing him around town. He's a handyman.
What's his name?
Michael Alexander.
So you asked Michael if he would help you move?
Yes. He then got the two other guys and said, they were good workers and they will also help because I had a lot of furniture.
Okay, so there were going to be 3 men.
3 men.
And you rented the U-Haul?
And I rented the U-Haul.
Where did you pick them up?
I picked them up on 3rd Street East in Lancaster, California at Michael's home.
What happened the second day?
The following day, we had agreed the previous night to meet back at Michael's house early in the morning. I did so. I arrived.
So you, again, went back to Michael's house to pick up the 3 guys?
To pick up the 3 guys. As the one of the guys was walking out, he was arguing with someone in the house. I asked him, was he okay? Did he need to stay back? He said, no, let's go. So all 4 of us got into the truck. I drove off. Went back to the house, unloaded the truck. Later on that day, I was going down Avenue K, headed westbound. He spotted his girlfriend.
Were the 3 men still in the truck?
The 3 men are in the truck. I'm driving down Avenue K, which is a main street. I'm heading westbound. He spotted his girlfriend, which apparently is a defendant.
Had you ever seen her before?
No.
Never laid eyes on her before that day? Go ahead.
And he makes a comment to another guy. He said, oh, there she goes. She's about to turn around. I quickly glanced in my rearview mirror. I didn't really see anything. A few seconds later, she was behind me on my left-hand side, honking her horn and motioning me to pull over.
What kind of car was she in?
A little blue Toyota Tercel, something compact and small.
Now, how was she telling you to pull over?
Honking her horn and motioning like this. And so then I asked the guy, I said, do you want me to pull over? He said, no, she just wants to argue, just keep going. So I did. A few seconds later, she's now on the right side of the truck.
That way she's on the passenger side of the truck.
On the passenger side of the truck. Okay, she just got over. She's doing the same thing. And I asked him again, I said, are you sure? He said, no, keep on, she'll eventually pass. And I said, okay, fine. So I keep driving. She was yelling and screaming.
What was she yelling?
You know, she was yelling profanities at him.
At him, not at you?
Not at me, okay? Not at first. When she got closer to the window, though, to where, because it was a long truck, when she got closer to the window, she did call me a B. But prior to that, she was, you know, on the side of the truck, yelling and screaming at him, and they flipped it. I don't know, she flipped him off, and then he flipped her back off, so then they had a flipping off match. Okay, and so I kept driving, and that was that. I moved all that day, you know, nothing. And the following day, I got a call from the Palmdale Sheriff's Department, said that they wanted to come look at the vehicle because they had been involved in a hit and run.
First of all, who was that guy? Who knew me?
Speak not until I speak to you. So it is your testimony
Yes.
that at no time did you ever hit her or hit her car?
Whatsoever.
Now, were you ever arrested?
No.
What happened?
The officer came to my house. He took a photograph of me. He told me to wait there at my house, that he was going to take the picture to her. If she verified that it was me, that he was going to come back and arrest me, for me not to go anywhere, to stay home that day. And I did. I was moving anyway. He never came back that day. I didn't hear anything, so I figured, okay, it's all taken care of. About a month later, I get a notice in the mail from the DMV stating that someone has inquired as to my driving record. Then I get a letter from the Sheriff's Department stating that I need to appear in court on charges of a hit and run and property damage. And
Do you have a copy of that letter?
I don't have a copy of the letter, but I was summoned to court.
You have a copy of the summons?
No, this is the court dates, and the days I appeared in court.
Am I correct, Miss Jones, that the trial in this case commenced? Jury was selected.
Yes.
The first witness was called by the people.
Yes.
That was this lady right here.
Yes.
The second witness that was called was her mother. I assume that's you.
Mother-in-law.
You're not her mother, are you?
No.
Then be quiet. Then the matter was adjourned.
Yes.
And when everybody came back, the district attorney moved to dismiss the case.
Yes.
The district attorney moved before you even had an opportunity to put on your case. At the end of their case, the district attorney said, we move to dismiss in the furtherance of justice. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, this report says that they found on your U-Haul a smudge of blue paint that was consistent with the blue paint on the car, her car.
Yes.
Can you explain that to me?
Yes, I can. When she got on the right-hand side of the truck and she was driving and cussing and carrying on, she skinned the side of the truck. At 35 miles, and she claimed that I hit her, that she skid and collided with me at 35
No,
miles an hour.
I read what she said.
Okay, these are the photos.
I read the exact statement she gave to the police, which contained no information about her boyfriend being in the car, anything like that. As far as her statement to the police was concerned, you were total strangers and you totaled her car, and so may I see the photographs that you have?
In the photographs, you will see her car. The hood of it is dented and the grill is missing, but she admitted in court that that was damage that was done previously. That was not damage caused by the U-Haul. At 35 miles an hour, she wouldn't have had a front.
Okay. Now I'd like to hear you.
On May 1st, I was coming from east side. All of a sudden, I see this U-Haul truck approaching me on the opposite side. She turned to the left. I just put the steering wheel a little bit to the right. That's why she hit the car. I have my pictures right here. On the side, you can see that's when she hit it.
What's your boyfriend's name, or what was his name?
Gino.
Gino. Was Gino in the U-Haul?
No.
Really? She says there was a person driving in the car who you knew. Is that true?
No. I don't know what.
Really?
I don't know who's. I don't know
Ms. Jones.
what she's talking about. I don't know who's this guy. No.
You know who that person is?
No. Even when I went to trial, they asked me. I didn't know him.
What about Michael?
Yes, I know. That's the guy I knew.
You have Michael's telephone number?
Yes, I do.
I'll take it.
One.
Now, why do you believe that the district attorney moved to dismiss the case after you and your mother testified?
I don't know.
You have no idea? All right. What's your name, by the way?
Gino.
Gino! You weren't in the U-Haul at that day, were you?
Nope. And I've been with her for 19 months.
Okay. Well, let me go see if I can get in touch with Michael.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I want to see this person and to identify me, and I'll do the same thing to him. I am not going to let these people lie. No.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Monica Jones says Martha Escada falsely accused her of hit and run. She claims Martha was trying to pull a scam.
Well, Michael isn't there, but maybe I can get some information from the district attorney. By the way, do you have any photographs of your cars?
Yes, and I have another question. Who's this guy that she's telling you that that guy knew me? I want to see this guy, and I want to see if he's telling the truth. I don't know this guy. I don't know what she's talking about. I mean, bring the guy, tell me to my face that he knew me, and I'll tell to his face that I knew him too.
The question is not whether this guy knew you, madam. The question is whether you pulled up on the side of her truck. There was somebody in the car that you wanted to talk to. She wouldn't pull over, and then you claimed that she hit your vehicle and took off. She says that the U-Haul did in fact come in contact with your car, but it was because you were driving like a nut. So
Nope.
I want to see what the district attorney has to say. If I can find the district attorney's name here, Richard Quinones. Let's see if we can locate him. And you have the paperwork while we're getting, see if we can get the
I have the
number.
police
You have the
report right
paperwork?
here, and I have pictures of my car.
Okay, let me see.
Also wanted to show the character when the police went to serve her. She said they didn't live there, and they do.
They didn't live where?
Initially, when they went to serve her, and she said, "Oh, no one's here by that name. No one lives here." And then the 10 days, my lost in pay, I brought my pay stub.
Just a second.
Okay.
I have to first find out whether these are false charges.
Okay.
That's what I have to find out.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Right. Yes, I do.
I mean, I wish I could get in touch with old Michael. That would make things easy. But since I can't, and you don't know the names of any of the other people.
No, I don't.
Okay. But why don't you have a seat?
Is it okay if I...
Yes, is Mr. Quinones there, please?
Yo estaba discutiendo con ellos y yo me puse a un lado de ella.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir. I haven't been able to reach either the district attorney at this hour, nor Mr. Alexander, but I'm going to try.
Okay.
So I want you to just hang around, and I'll see you back here as soon as we are able to get either one of these two people who should be
I
able
just
to
gave him
give...
a cell phone number.
You have a cell phone number for whom?
Michael Alexander.
Oh, that's perfect. Maybe we can do that. Yes.
When they went to serve me to that address, I moved since December. So I don't live in that address anymore. I live in Lake LA.
It's not important. Why is that important?
Because she said that when they went looking for me at that address, somebody told the police officer that...
And I told her that wasn't important.
Okay.
The only thing that's important to me is whether or not you knew or appeared to have known someone who was driving in the truck with her on that date. And I would be also curious to find out why the district attorney moved on their own motion to dismiss this case after you and your mother testified. So we'll see you back here.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, I managed to speak to the assistant district attorney who handled the case. And after speaking to the assistant district attorney, he did in fact confirm to me that after the two of you testified, he decided to go out and have a personal look at the car that you say was damaged by the plaintiff. And after he made this personal inspection of the car, he believed that the damages to the car were inconsistent with the testimony that the two of you gave in court before she even had to put on her case. So he doubted your word, especially yours. That's number one. Number two, we were in fact successful in securing Michael Alexander's presence here for the recall. So, Bert, I believe Mr. Alexander is outside. Would you bring him in, please?
Sure thing, Judge. Michael Alexander?
Would you swear the witness, please?
Sure thing. Sir, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth in the matters before you?
Yes, sir.
State your name for the record.
Michael Alexander.
Mr. Alexander, prior to coming into court just now, did you speak to Miss Jones?
Yes.
Did she tell you the questions that she thought I would be asking you?
No.
Okay. You helped her move sometime in, when was it, May?
Yes.
And you had a couple of other people that you had gotten to help her?
Yes, ma'am.
Who were those other people?
Keith and Jose.
Do you know their last names?
No. I met them at labor.
There came a time that Miss Jones came to your house to pick you up.
Yes.
And these two other men were with you in the truck and you moved one day.
Yes.
Do you remember the second day of your move?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember an incident involving this young lady right here?
Yes.
Look at me and tell me what you remember.
Well, I remember that we was traveling down Avenue K after we dropped off her furniture at her house and was headed back to the storage. And Jose said, that's my girlfriend. And I seen her throw a U-turn.
Jose, put your hand down. Jose said, that's my girlfriend.
Yes.
Where was she when he said, that's my girlfriend?
She was headed east coming down Avenue K.
And what happened next?
She threw a U-turn and she came up on the U-Haul and she was driving all erratic and fast. She was flashing her lights and blowing her horn and doing hand signals up out the window. And
did Jose say anything to her?
He said, well, she asked him, do you want me to pull over? And he said, no, don't stop. She just wanted to argue. And so we kept going.
Did you see Jose after the move? Have you seen him since?
No.
Have not?
No, ma'am.
Is there any question in your mind that this was the young lady in the car?
No.
Look at me. What color car was she driving?
Blue.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Okay. If you have any questions for Mr. Alexander, you can ask me and I will ask him.
Okay. Who is this guy, Jose? I don't know nobody by that name, Jose. And I'm not going to let these people get away with it because they're lying. No. I want to see this person and to identify me, and I'll do the same thing to him. I am not going to let these people lie. No.
Miss Jones, I've been involved in the criminal justice system for a very long time, and I'll tell you right now, very rarely does a district attorney who takes a case to trial, impanels a jury of 12 people, wastes court time, expends time in preparing a case. Very rarely does a district attorney stand up at the end of their case and say, we don't believe our witnesses to the extent that we're moving to dismiss this case because we don't even want it to go any further. I mean, maybe on one hand I can remember that amount of time. This district attorney didn't believe you, didn't believe your mother about what happened. And I don't know who Jose is, but I certainly see the pictures of your car, and I've listened to her testify. I believe her. That's all I have to believe. I believe that you were having some sort of an argument with a guy who was in that U-Haul it, and you were behaving erratically. She wouldn't pull over. You got ticked off. You called, and I believe that there was contact with the U-Haul. There's no question in my mind that there was contact with the U-Haul. It was your fault. And maybe you thought you could make a couple of bucks. No. That's what I think. That's what I think. And the fact that you called the police. Have you ever been incarcerated before, Miss Jones?
No.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm an accountant.
I think that not only did you cause her trouble, because I looked at how many times she had to appear in court based upon your phone call to the police that was fraudulent. She had to appear in court. She had to be embarrassed. There's a certain embarrassment about it. When it was your fault and you lied. And she's entitled to what she's asking for, which is $5,000. And I'm entering a judgment for that. $5,000 for the plaintiff. That's all. Step out.
All you guys excused, you may step out.
I'm happy with the outcome, and I feel that justice was served.
I don't have no comment with this lady.
I had a sick daughter at the time, and she was in cancer treatments, and it was hard, and it was just uncalled for, and I'm very satisfied with the judgment.
She's lying to her teeth.
Go to judgejudy.com and fill out the form and get on the show.
Yeah. And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Mason Wilson versus Wilson. Step forward, please.
Thomas Mason and his fiancée, Joanne Wilson, are suing Joanne's son, 21-year-old fast food worker Jesse Wilson. Joanne says during an argument, Jesse assaulted her.
You're Miss Wilson.
Yes.
Is that right? And this is your boyfriend. His name is Mason.
Yes, that's correct.
And this is your son.
Yes.
And it is your claim that your son assaulted you, which resulted in your hospitalization. You want him to pay for any unreimbursed medical costs that you had, as well as for something for pain and suffering. I don't know what Mr. Mason is doing here unless he paid some of the bills. Did you, sir?
I paid them, Your Honor, yes.
You paid them, that's why you're here. Your son says that he didn't assault you, that you fell over a table because you were drunk. Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When did this incident occur?
January 15th. Yeah.
Where?
In my house.
Who was at home?
I was at home. He was there. In fact, he was leaving that day.
Who was he?
My son. And
leaving permanently?
Yeah.
Why?
He was moving out.
Why?
Well, he thought $25 a week was too much. He said he should pay nothing to live with me.
How old is he?
He's 21.
Okay, go ahead. So what
So
happened?
we got into argument that night, and
What did you get into an argument about?
Miscellaneous things. And I quite don't remember. I remember falling, and I remember him picking me up, and he was saying sorry to me. He said, "Ma, I'm sorry." And he put me on the couch. After that, I don't remember nothing. Except when going to the hospital, they had to put the thing around my neck. They had me in a board, and then they had to rush me from that hospital to another hospital.
The only thing you remember is him picking you up,
Yeah.
saying...
I remember him saying, "Ma, I'm sorry." He picked me up and put me on the couch. And then I woke up later on, and my boyfriend came later that night, and he made me go to the hospital. I wasn't going to the hospital. I was dizzy and everything, but I told him I would be fine. And he told me, no, I think you better go to the hospital. Something don't look right.
Had you been drinking?
Yeah, I had been drinking.
How much?
I had maybe a half a pint that night.
Half a pint of what?
Rum.
What time did you start drinking?
It was about 6 o'clock that night.
Do you drink every night?
No.
How often do you drink?
I drink on the weekend, occasionally on weekends.
You have a drinking problem?
No, no.
You have anything to drink today?
No.
All right, Mr. Wilson. Your mother says that you said sorry. You want to tell me what happened?
I had came home from work at the time of the day of my birthday, and
This was your birthday?
yes, my birthday. I had came home, right, and she was drunk because I smelled it on her breath. Me and her got into an argument over how stuff was going in the house. I told her I have no, like me. Sometimes I might leave something around the house, something like a cup or a plate or something. I understand. Sometimes I do intend to forget stuff, but I always do what I have to do in the house, you know. And when she kicked me out, I was getting all my belongings, and she had grabbed me.
Where did she grab you?
She grabbed me in my left arm, and when I told her, "Can you get off me?" she did not want to let go. And when I took my arm like that to get her off me, she had fell back and lost her balance.
You didn't hit her, did you?
No, I would never assault my mother.
You never put your hands on her?
No.
Well, she doesn't remember what happened. All she remembers is falling, and you saying you're sorry. So what are we doing here? Mr. Mason, what are we doing here, sir?
Well, Your Honor, this has been going on for quite a while. It isn't just the first time. He broke a window once before in the house because he got mad.
But
I have bills here, and I have the original letter that I wrote to him, gave him plenty of time. All I was looking for was my original amount of money that I put out.
For what?
For the expenses of what it costs to take her to the hospital.
Just a minute. There's no proof he assaulted her, sir.
Well, I had asked her what happened when I came home. She called up this friend of mine. I was at his house, and I came home. She had told me what happened, that Jesse had pushed her, and I said, you best you go to the hospital to get checked out. We went to one hospital, and they needed better equipment. They had to transfer her to another hospital, and they weren't sure if she would be paralyzed from the neck down or not. And like I said, it's not a question of just now. It's been a question of a problem when it's $25 a week that he's paying rent. Are we going to get television, the telephone, the whole thing over here for $25 a week? And then he wanted to live for nothing.
How long have the two of you been living together?
Over 2.5 years.
And whose house is it?
It's her apartment.
It's her apartment?
Yeah.
And he's not
So
on the lease.
just a second. So you're living in her apartment?
Half and half, Your Honor. I have my own apartment right around the corner.
What do you mean half and half?
I stay sometimes, a lot of times. I stay on the average 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks at a time.
Listen to me. It's none of your business.
Okay?
This is between Miss Wilson and her son. Has nothing to do with you. Nothing. As far as I'm concerned, Miss Wilson shouldn't be here with her son today. She had a little too much to drink, and if she got into even a shoving match with her son and she fell, that's unfortunate. Probably was tipsy to begin with and fell. She shouldn't be fighting with her son. She shouldn't be fighting with her son on his birthday. And you shouldn't pour salt in the wound because you're not family. You don't precipitate coming to court when you're not even related. Precipitate a mother for bringing a lawsuit against a child. That doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't let anybody pressure you into bringing a lawsuit against your son, which you probably wouldn't have done on your own.
No, but I think he deserves it, especially when he busted my window. I wasn't even supposed to let him live with me. Housing don't want him there because he got kicked out of his sister's house because of the same problem.
Miss Wilson, let me tell you something. I'm not giving him any stars for good behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long you've been drinking, but I would guess, based upon my experience in the courts, that you've been drinking a long time. Long time.
Okay.
That's not the way to bring up a child. So if you have a child that is troubled at age 20, you look to yourself and say, what did I do as a mother? Was I drinking most of the time? Was I doing the right thing most of the time? And if you were not, you don't precipitate a lawsuit because you set zero example for him. Just want you to think about that. Your lawsuit's dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He's got to smarten up. It's as simple as that.
I understand that's her boyfriend. He has nothing to do with it.
This isn't the first time that this is taking place.
He should stay out of it, like the judge said.
He's had trouble in the apartment before.
I don't know how my mother could make some man come in between her son and her.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Brewer versus O'Reilly. Step forward, please.
Sales manager Bill Brewer is suing his ex-mother-in-law, retired postal worker Val O'Reilly, for an unpaid loan to visit her family. Val says the money was a gift so she could pay for her mother's funeral.
Mr. Brewer, how long were you married to the defendant's daughter?
Approximately 2 years, Your Honor.
Is this your former wife?
Yes, it is.
Do you have children together?
No, we did not.
And how long did you know her before you married her?
Approximately 2 years.
So you've known Miss O'Reilly for 4 years, or at the time of the divorce.
Yes.
And you claim a loan to her, a recent loan, in the amount of $1,500. Is that right?
Back in April of 2001, yes.
In what year were you divorced from her daughter?
We split up in March of 2000.
And you maintained a reasonable relationship with the defendant?
Yes. After we split up, we probably talked at least maybe once, twice a month. You know, we'd just chat to see how things were going. She cared about what was going on, and she honestly didn't like what her daughter was doing to me. So, yeah, I thought we had a civil friendship, and we chatted and emailed and stuff like that, yes.
Did you give her a check for this loan?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have the check?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to see it, please.
If I can add also, Your Honor, 2 weeks before I had loaned her the money, the defendant's daughter had called me and asked if I wanted to buy the ring back. And
Buy what ring back?
the wedding ring. Because when we split up, I asked for it back anyways, and of course that wasn't the right thing to do.
Was your wife at that time living with her mother?
No, she wasn't.
Now tell me about this loan in April of 2001. What was it for?
Well, the defendant would like to go to Florida to see her sister, I think yearly. So she called me, said, Bill, if at all possible, she wasn't threatening me, if at all possible, do you have some money I can borrow? I need to put some money down for my ticket and the hotel room and whatnot. At the time, I was, still trying to be a decent guy, had a little extra money in the bank, and I said, sure, no problem. She agreed to pay me back in August. I said, okay, I could do that for you, Val, because I thought we had somewhat of a decent relationship still.
And she never paid you back?
No, ma'am, no.
Okay. Now, Miss O'Reilly, in what month did your mother die?
My mother died in April of 2001, Your Honor.
When in April?
The 29th of April.
Okay. Now I'd like to hear what your defense is, because I find that interesting.
My mother was 93 years old, and she was in a nursing home, and she was dying. The first part of April, they didn't think that she would live very much longer.
She died April 29th, according to you.
Right, that's when she died. But she was dying.
She was sick.
Hospice was called in. And she wanted to, since she and Bill Brewer were friends and they were on a good rapport together, she liked Bill. We all did at one time. She asked hospice to call him and tell him goodbye for her, that she was dying. They didn't expect her to live.
Did that happen?
No, ma'am. They never called.
Just a second. Would you get to the $1,500, please?
Okay. They called him and told him she was dying. He called back and said he was sorry that she was, going to die.
Would you get to the...
I told him that she had bought her lot years ago, that her cremation was paid for, because he asked me how she was going to be buried. And I said she was going to be cremated. And I couldn't believe that, because even when she owned the lot, that it would cost $500 to open the grave to put her ashes in the grave. That amazed me. Then it would cost $200 more for an urn. It had to be bronze. I couldn't put her ashes in the box that came in from the crematorium. And the marker was $800. And I said that Graham, that's what we called her, Graham would just have to wait a while before I could do this. And he said, don't worry about it. He said, I'm making good money now. And he said, let this be my gift to you. It was a gift. Because he thought so much of my mother.
And you say that this conversation took place while your mother was still living?
She was dying, yes.
While she was still living,
yes.
You had this conversation with him?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Bill Brewer says ex-mother-in-law Val O'Reilly owes for a loan to visit her family. Val says the money was a gift.
All right. Now, what I find interesting about your position, Miss O'Reilly, is I want you to look at this document. Tell me if this is your signature. Is that your signature?
Yes, it is my signature.
Good. Can I see the document back, please? That is your sworn answer to his complaint. And I'm going to read to you what you wrote. In April of 2001, my 93-year-old mother passed away. Plaintiff had been very fond of my mother and called to give me his condolences shortly after she passed away. I told him that she would be cremated and mentioned I couldn't believe the cost of the urns, services, and burial. He was sympathetic and said he would give me the $1,500 towards the burial as a gift because he cared so much about my mother and wanted to do this for me. That's what you swore to. Do you understand that that's what you swore to?
Yes, Your Honor. May I say something, please?
No. That's what you swore to. And your mother died the 29th of April. This check was written to you on the 20th of April, 9 days before your mother died. You understand?
Yes, I do.
Your answer does not support this.
It was a stressful month. It was full of trauma. She was dying. She had hospital.
This is not a stressful month, madam. We are talking about some 13 or 14 months later. 13 or 14 months later, you wrote, he called to give me his condolences shortly after she passed away. You told me she died on the 29th of April. The check that he wrote to you was on the 20th of April, 9 days before she died.
Right. I had talked to him previously before then, before she died.
That's what you just told me now. That's not what you swore to in your answer. He has no responsibility to pay for your mother's burial.
No,
what
he
I
didn't.
want to
He
know is
offered
what
it as a
changed your
gift.
mind between the time that he gave you this $1,500 and the time that you were supposed to pay him back. Something happened with your daughter? Were they separated and going through a divorce? Is there something negative that happened during that 6-month period? And I will ask you, Mr. Brewer, to tell me.
Well, I didn't think there was anything out of the ordinary. Yeah, we were separated. We were going through a divorce.
When were you ultimately divorced?
It wasn't until, I'd say, August of 2001. Yeah, right about the time that she was going to pay me back.
Did you both have lawyers in the divorce?
It was a simple divorce, so we just
So there was no issue of property, no issue of money?
No children, no property, no.
Is that right? You can stand up.
I'd like to shed a little light on this divorce situation and his behavior. It was anything but civil. The man professed his love for me one day and tried to choke me to death the next. He was very violent. He's a very unpredictable, erratic, temperamental person.
Your Honor, does this have any bearing in the...
Just a second.
I'm just stating the facts.
Your mother filed an answer that is totally inconsistent with the facts in this case. Her answer says he gave her this money after your grandmother died when he called to offer his condolences and she said she was short for the burial. The check was written 9 days before your grandmother died, which is totally inconsistent with her testimony. As far as I'm concerned, he has absolutely no responsibility to pay for your grandmother's funeral.
Correct, but
The dates are off, and if you were going through an acrimonious time with him, and if you say he is abusive, controlling, and threatening, I would question why you would permit, because you're an adult, you're over 21, clearly, why you would permit this violent, abusive man to whittle into your family business by paying for your grandmother's funeral.
I urged her not to take the money.
Good, then you should have said, I'll give you the money.
I urged her, but she had no idea the extent of his behavior.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,500. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Excuse me, step out.
Wonderful guy. We all were fooled.
I called, I had left messages.
He's caused a lot of pain for our family.
I sent letters, she returned them.
I truly cannot believe that he would stoop this low.
Didn't respond to me, so I thought this was the only choice.
He traumatized her for months and months before she had him leave the house.
We had our moment.
And I didn't know about it until after the divorce. She didn't want me to worry.
Half the things that I did, yeah, I'll take blame for it, but you know what? She had her moments too.
He tried to choke me to death. He was vindictive, and he's trying to get at us again.
Not saying I was an angel.
I can't believe that he would go through these lengths.
I did it as a friend.
He's a liar.
If you can't afford to lose it, don't loan it.
Don't get married.
She thought you were in an exclusive relationship.
We're just dating.
Why would a person ask a woman who he was just dating for money? Is not an answer. You are so lucky. You should kiss the ground that you're standing on.
This is Judy Justice. Bailiff Cassandra Britt is standing in for bailiff Kevin Rasco, and law clerk Alexi Mincer is sitting in for law clerk Sarah Rose. Tanisha Merriweather is suing her ex-boyfriend, Ty Womack, for a business loan he failed to pay back.
Court come to order. All rise. Have a seat, please. Case number 3070, Merriweather versus Womack. Thank you. Miss Merriweather, you and the defendant were sort of briefly in a relationship. Is that correct?
Yes.
And it is your claim that during the course of that relationship you made a loan to him?
That's correct.
And that loan was to start a business?
Yes.
He hasn't paid you back?
No,
That's
he
why
hasn't.
you're here. Mr. Womack says that you did, in fact, give him that money, but you're going to show me where you took it from, right?
Yes.
That he didn't start the business because he got preoccupied with other things,
Correct.
but it was a gift, right?
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Womack, when and where did you meet the plaintiff?
We met online and we started dating.
On what online?
Just online.
Isn't there a site, a place, a Facebook?
An
Where
online.
did you meet?
It's an online dating app called Black.
And when did you meet?
May 2022.
That's when you first met online?
Yes.
When did you meet in person?
It was toward the end of May, so maybe like May 29th or something.
And you both live in the same area?
Correct.
Where do you live?
I live in Los Angeles.
And you, sir?
Inglewood.
What kind of work do you do, Miss Merriweather?
I work for a reentry program, so we assist formerly incarcerated individuals. So we help them with housing, employment, and education.
And what do you do, sir?
Freelance production, so pretty much all of this that's going on.
Doing what?
Production coordinator, writer, everything that is associated with film and TV.
Who do you live with, sir?
Myself.
Who do you live with?
Myself.
Ever been married?
No.
You?
No.
Have kids?
Yes, one.
How old?
12.
Boy or a girl?
It's a girl.
Lives with you?
Yes, she does.
And you, sir?
3.
How old are they?
17, 15, and 6.
Are they also in Los Angeles?
They are.
Do you see them?
Often.
Who do they live with?
Their mothers. But each one has their own room at my house.
In your house?
Yes.
You pay support for them?
No, we don't have support set up.
Okay, so the two of you met online in May of 22, went out the end of May for the first time. At that time, Mr. Womack, what kind of work were you doing in May?
Production.
And according to what I read, that sort of dried up and you were blowing through your savings.
I wouldn't say that. I did wrap a show, and Miss Mayweather asked me what my plans were or if I had any business aspirations. I told her.
What month was this?
I'd like to say the end of 2022.
So you were dating from May of 2022 through December?
Yes.
Were you and Miss Merriweather, at least on your part, exclusive in your dating?
No.
Were you?
Yes.
Did you know he was not?
No.
From May of 2022 to December, did you ever tell Miss Merriweather that you were seeing other people?
I let her know that dating was seeing other people and that we were dating. We weren't in an exclusive
Well,
relationship.
tell me how you explained that to her. I'm just curious because this $5,000 is a whole bunch of money. So I would like to know how you explained to her that she was just a date.
That we were dating. And in dating, you date other people. You see other people.
Well, I want to know how you convey that to Miss Merriweather, because this comes in a little bit later in your story, sir. She said she didn't know that you were dating other people.
We never had any talks of exclusivity. We never had
That's
any
not my
talks
question.
I
That's
don't
not
know how to explain it, but I just let her know that we were dating, and she was free to do whatever she wanted to do.
But you also told me.
Shh. I'm getting it.
Okay.
When you had this discussion about this brainstorm that you were doing about how to add some money to your bank account, you're in the production business. What do you know about the used car business? Is not an answer.
I've been in
cars too, but I don't know anything about flipping cars. I just know that I drive a car. What do you know about it?
I've gone to school for mechanics, so I know how to fix a car.
Great.
But about selling, I haven't done it. So
About doing anything, how to buy, where to buy, how to sell.
I have attended auctions before, and I have purchased cars from auctions before.
Oh, good. And so you must have told that to Miss Merriweather.
I did.
Okay, because she wouldn't have guessed that. For instance, I wouldn't say to, my memory is not what it used to be, but if I were dating a guy who was in production, all different kinds, I wouldn't say, by the way, did you ever fix cars? Do you understand? Yeah. So that had to come up in a conversation somehow.
It did.
I want you to tell me how.
We were talking about
this is the end of the year.
Different things that I've done.
I've mentioned different jobs that I had.
Well, how did it come up? You must have said, you know what, my job wrapped and I don't have a steady income now. And I have 3 kids and I have to support myself and they all have a room in my house. It had to have something. You weren't living together, you each have your own space, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it had to come up somehow. It's not a guessing game. You know, she wasn't like Johnny Carson and Karnak. What's in the envelope? You know, the answer to the question is, it had to come up by you saying something to her, sir.
So we were having a conversation about the show wrapping. She asked me if I had anything lined up, any business ideas that I may have had. I shared them with her.
No, and what did you say to her? So she said, what's lined up? Your show wrapped, what's lined up?
I have an idea for purchasing cars and flipping cars.
You said to her?
Yes.
Okay.
And I asked her, are you asking me out of curiosity or are you asking me because you want to help? And
Why would you ask?
She said a little of both.
Why would you ask somebody that you were just dating for financial help?
Because again, we're just dating. So if
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Why would a person of character ask a woman who he was just dating for money? Brothers and sisters, Mr. Womack?
I do.
How many?
Too many to count.
Too many to count. My God, I can count all the way up to 100. You're a hustler, Mr. Womack.
And later today.
Who do you live with, sir?
I live in the wind.
You live in the wind?
Yes. Whatever direction it's going, that's
Always
where I'm
wanted to
living.
meet somebody who lived in the wind. Now my dream has come true.
Tanisha Merriweather claims her ex-boyfriend, Ty Womack, owes for a loan she gave him for a car flipping business.
A grown man ask a person who is self-supporting, takes care of a child, who lives with her full-time, why would you ask her for money?
I didn't ask her for money. She offered the money to me.
Well, how does that happen, sir?
Over the course of the conversation. And then she let me know, that business venture you were into, I'm going to give you the money.
Miss Merriweather, you have a 12-year-old daughter.
Yes.
She go to school?
Yes.
She does okay in school?
Yes, she does.
She have plans on going on to higher education?
Yes, she does.
Yeah. You have all of her college money put away?
Not all of it. No, I do not.
You saved some?
I'm saving, yes.
Saving so that your daughter can go to school?
Yes.
You wouldn't give somebody that you were casually dating, who was dating other people, money just as a gift?
No, I would not.
Yeah. Why would you do that? You don't look like an idiot.
I'm not.
Mr. Womack, I can understand that if you had an exclusive relationship and you both thought that you were going to build a life together and you were struggling financially and you had a discussion about how you could improve your financial profile, that I can understand. But so let's see what you told me, sir. Because this is all about loan, gift, loan. She thought you were in an exclusive relationship. You, not so much. You had an idea to flip cars to make some money. According to you, she said, I can help, right? With that business, right?
Yes.
Not to give it to you so that you could support your kids or to go out and find a new girlfriend, which you did. According to you, that's what you did. So let me understand. You said to her, I'm going to use the money to start a business to flip cars. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes.
But then you didn't. Now, you give me a whole lot of reasons in your answer as to why you didn't. So let me see if I remember. You said you were preoccupied with your mother's illness, right? And then she started to ask you a whole lot of things while you were preoccupied with your mother's illness, like where to go to dinner, or were you going, I don't know, to Disneyland, or other that you considered silly things considering your situation with your mother, right? That's what you say in your answer.
Yes.
But you weren't so preoccupied with your mother that you didn't find another girlfriend, because that's what you also say in your answer. So somehow, between taking care of your mother and this alleged business, you found time to find a new girlfriend.
Correct.
And you never did buy a car or start the business. That's what you also said.
First off, she was
That's
never
just
my
a second.
She was never my girlfriend.
That's not what I asked you. I didn't say she was your girlfriend. I didn't say she was your girlfriend. Would that be correct? Let's read the question back to him, Whitney, that I posed to him, because he didn't give me the answer to my question.
But you weren't so preoccupied with your mother that you didn't find another girlfriend, because that's what you also say in your answer. Somehow between taking care of your mother and this alleged business, you found time to find a new girlfriend, correct?
Not a new girlfriend. She was never my girlfriend to start with.
You mean she was never, but you found...
So in dating other people...
Just strike the word new. It was a sufficient girlfriend for you to put in your answer.
So while dating other people?
No. Not what I asked you, sir. You want me to read the question again?
Sure.
You managed to find another girlfriend.
No.
No. Did you buy a car?
No.
I'm going to ask you $24,000 question, or excuse me, the $64,000 question. What did you do with her money?
I used it towards my mother's funeral.
Really? Is that what she gave you the money for?
No, but
then
she
you
also
took it,
let me know that I could use the money for other things. And I told her I was trying to hold on to
Just a second. Miss Merriweather, did he ever tell you he used that money for his mother's funeral?
No, he didn't. No.
We weren't talking at that time.
When did your mother die?
March this year.
So she gave you the money in what month? What month did she give you the money?
December, January.
Look
December.
there.
December 2022.
Now, you had December, so you had Christmas for your kids, right? You had January, whole month of January. So what you're telling me is you didn't spend any of that money in December. You didn't spend any of the money in January. You didn't spend any of the money in February. You saved it all up for your mother's funeral.
December and January, I'm not sure if you remember, it was really rainy, and we had months of rain, like 2 solid months of rain. There were no auctions to go to because they're outdoors.
And?
So I couldn't go.
You are so lucky. You are so lucky. You should kiss the ground that you're standing on. He has 3 children who have 2 or 3 mothers. I know at least 2. 3 mothers? Right. And he took your money and spent it on himself.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You have brothers and sisters, Mr. Womack?
I do.
How many?
Too many to count.
Too many to count. My God, I can count all the way up to 100. You're a hustler, Mr. Womack. Can I see the $5,000 that you gave him? You're a hustler, and you should thank your lucky stars, madam, that you didn't involve him in your daughter's life, because it would be a terrible thing to involve a hustler in your daughter's life. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're finished.
Thanks. Great.
Court is adjourned.
It was a gift. She gave me the money.
He knew that he owed me the money that I loaned him, and it was not a gift for him to use for his mother's funeral.
She gave me the money. And I told her once I got money from the business that I would pay her back, or she could become a partner in the business.
No, we had a conversation about him starting a business. He came to pick the money up from me, and I gave him cash for him to start his business and also repay me.
And had I been with her, she'd never ask me for that money ever again.
No, he owes me, and it was for a business that he started. It was an investment for him.
Out of the blue, she showed up at my house with some subpoenas.
He didn't respond back. He blocked me, and that was it. I'm not going to loan out any more money to anyone I'm dating.
Okay, my clerk. So this is my take on this case. I made a decision today based on what I perceived as the facts and the relationship between these 2 people. The fact that I think she sort of got hoodwinked. So now I want you to give me a legal rationale for what I just did.
Sure. So he accepted money for a car flipping business, and he's under a legal obligation to exercise best efforts to put that money towards his car flipping business. And he used it for reasons outside of that. This was not a no strings attached gift. This was for car flipping, and he has to use it for that.
I buy that. Thank you. An altercation with her.
I got a punch that come behind my head.
He tore up a wardrobe of mine. There were some TV damages done.
I have no idea what she's talking about.
I was just done and over the physical abuse, the verbal abuse.
I suggest you stay far away from each other. Do you understand?
This is Judy Justice. Blonsey O'Barron is suing his ex-girlfriend, Sharila Williams, for stolen property and money taken from his bank accounts.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Hello, Kevin. Case 3056, O'Barron versus Williams.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. O'Barron, you and the defendant were a couple for a while.
Yes.
From when to when?
2021 to 2023.
When in 2023?
October.
Well, we're not there yet. October of 2023 comes up in a few months.
That was 2022, I meant.
Okay, so from 2021 to October
2022.
of 2022.
Yes, my bad.
And you live together. According to what I've read, you took an apartment and the lease was in both your names?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
And in what month and year was that lease signed?
In June.
June of 2022?
Yes.
Okay. You are in a wheelchair as a result of being shot.
Right.
When were you shot?
June 23rd,
Of what year?
2022.
Under what circumstances?
It was an altercation with my mother, my kids, and her boyfriend.
Okay, so it was somebody that you knew.
Yes.
And was that person arrested?
No.
Did you know who it was?
Yes, I know who it was.
Is there any reason why that person wasn't arrested who shot you?
I had a gun myself, and then the gun happened to go off. I didn't have an altercation with the person, so it was with somebody else. He was just there, and then he started shooting.
When you moved into the apartment with the defendant, you had not been shot.
No.
So when you were shot, you were hospitalized for a while?
Yes, I was
How long?
in the hospital for about 3-4 months.
I'm going to come to you with some dates.
Yes, Your Honor.
You moved into this apartment together in October of 2022?
So we moved in June of 2022.
And he was shot that same month?
Yes, ma'am.
And he spent several months in the hospital?
He spent like 3 months in the hospital, yes, Your Honor.
Your complaint against the defendant is that she used some money because you subsequently became incarcerated.
She didn't use it. She stole it.
She stole. You were living together.
Yes.
I assume sharing expenses.
Right.
And you had a bank account.
Yes.
You were incarcerated.
Yes.
Which means that whatever income you had went into that bank.
Yes, ma'am.
And the two of you, when you were in the apartment, shared expenses, including rent. How did you expect her to pay rent with you incarcerated if she didn't use your money that was going into your bank account, which she had control over?
The rent was already paid for 3 months.
You were incarcerated on what day?
I was in the hospital when the rent was already paid.
Well, you were in the hospital, but then you went to jail.
I went to jail.
Okay, you went to jail from when to when?
October till April.
The lease wasn't up until May. How was she supposed to pay rent?
That's what I'm saying. I paid.
Are you telling me in October you paid October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May?
I paid for 3 months.
Which 3 months?
From October, maybe till December.
Let's say it's true. I assume you can prove to me that you paid the rent for those couple of months. What happened to December, January, February, March, and April? What about those 5 months?
We actually didn't have an agreement for me to pay anything, so
You were both on the lease. You were both fully
Right.
responsible for the rent.
Right.
And you were paying something towards the rent.
Right.
Well, I'm asking you, how do you expect her to pay the rent? What was the total rent?
The rent was $750 a month, Your Honor.
And prior to going to jail, how much did you contribute towards the rent? Is not an answer.
I wasn't working at the time because my situation, from October, I was being incarcerated, and I applied for disability, and then I was waiting to get approved while I was.
Well, you got disability. That's what you're complaining about, that you took
Yes.
money out of your account. The money that came out of your account to pay some of these bills was from disability.
I wish you would pay some bills with it. That would make me feel a lot better. But she never paid no bills. She just used the money for unnecessary stuff. So.
How do you know that?
Because I have the proof. If she would pay the bills with the money, when I got home, when I get out, I will probably have somewhere to go. When I left the hospital, I had a GoFundMe. I had a little money. I was helping paying
Just a
bills.
second, you did a GoFundMe?
Yes, from the
what?
hospital, from the months I was in the hospital, so to help me with my medical needs and stuff.
How much did you collect from a GoFundMe page?
2,800 something.
Do you have an outstanding medical bill?
No, I don't. I actually had Medicaid then at the time.
So that you had no hospital bill. You walked out of the hospital, didn't pay anything.
No, I applied while I was in the hospital.
Doesn't matter. You didn't pay anything, correct?
No.
So what did you do with the $2,800 you got from? Shh.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What did you do with the $2,800 that you got from the GoFundMe page? I'm just curious.
I actually bought a lot of stuff for me to use. When I got out, I needed a lot of stuff.
Okay, you say she took money. Did you take any money out of his account?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
How much did you take out?
I roughly spent maybe $3,000 on bills.
Okay, and what did you spend the $3,000 on?
There was rent, there was food, there were utilities, my car note.
Well, why is he responsible for your car note? Why is he responsible for your food?
Blondie agreed to take care of me because I was not working. I stopped working when he had his incident, his shooting incident. I stopped working to take care of him, to be there for him. And so I had no income coming in. Blondie stated to me that once he received his disability, he was going to take care of me because he had been priorly living with me and not paying any bills.
Is that right, sir?
I was.
That's a simple answer. She said something to me. It sort of makes sense. And all I'm asking you is the statements that she just made to me, are they accurate? Oh, no. That doesn't make sense to me.
He tried to attack her with a crowbar.
Just a second. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, yeah.
I've been in this business for much too long, folks, for, I want my mail and I didn't give it to you, so he went to jail for 6 months. Yeah, that didn't happen.
Blondie O'Barron claims his ex-girlfriend, Sharila Williams, stole his property and wrongfully withdrew money from his bank account. Sharila is countersuing for property damage.
The statements that she just made to me, are they accurate?
Somewhat.
What's not accurate? Were you living with her?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you paying bills when you were living with her? Rent, food, utilities?
Yes.
Were you paying for that?
I actually paid for food. Yeah.
Okay, so you paid for nothing. And then, prior to your becoming incapacitated, was the defendant working?
She actually was working, and then she stopped working.
She was working. What was she doing? You were living together, so you know what she was doing. What was she doing?
She wasn't really taking care of me.
I didn't ask about taking care of you.
She wasn't doing nothing.
I asked, was she working prior to your becoming incapacitated?
Yes.
What kind of work was she doing?
Nursing.
She was a nurse.
Yeah.
Are you still nursing?
Your Honor, I'm a medical office receptionist, so I'm not a nurse, Your Honor.
We should have gotten to know you a little bit better. Okay, and on what date did you leave that job?
I stopped working in July.
You were shot in June?
June, yes.
And then you were in the hospital for a while?
Yes.
And prior to being shot, you were not in a wheelchair?
No.
When you came home, was the defendant at home?
Sometimes.
What do you mean sometimes? She was on the lease.
After a couple months from being there, she didn't want to be at the house. She was getting...
Was she with you in July?
Yes, ma'am.
Was she with you in August?
Yes.
Okay. What credit card charges do you believe exist that the defendant used your credit card without your permission?
Oh, right here.
This is a checking account statement, sir.
It's the checking account. It wasn't no credit card.
So she never used your credit card without permission?
No, it wasn't in a credit card.
Okay.
It was just checking account.
In January, February, and March of 2023, you were incarcerated.
Yes.
What were you incarcerated for?
It was a warrant that I have.
Your Honor, it was a warrant from a violent situation that he incurred with his witness.
Tell me about it.
They had a disturbance at her location, and they arrested him from the house that we shared due to a warrant from his witness.
Okay. And was that because you called the police because you were having an altercation?
I called the police because we were having an altercation, but they arrested him due to an incident between him and his child's mother.
Okay. And when did that occur?
That occurred October 28th.
Now, what items do you say that she took from you without permission?
All my personal belongings, like clothes, shoes, everything.
When
I left with nothing at all, like when I got out.
When you got out of jail?
Yes.
Okay. When you got out of jail, what was the date that you were released from jail?
April 14th.
And where did you go?
I actually slept in the car that night because...
Where did you go the next day?
The next day, my kid's mother tried to help me find a hotel and pay for it.
And what happened to the apartment that you had been sharing with the defendant?
The week before I got out, me and the defendant, we was actually talking. When I got out, she was gonna release everything to me so we can move on. But
so you could move on.
But we both can move on. So the week before I got out, she started me answering the phone from the jail. And then she had a plan to move out, but when she
Well, the lease was up the next month.
I don't think the lease was off yet.
Yeah, the lease was going to be up the next month. It was a year lease.
Well, I'm not sure about that.
Well, I'm telling you, it was a year lease. It was going to be up the next month.
Okay. Well, then again, she didn't want me to be there anymore.
Well, you had an altercation with her, did you not?
After my incident, she started the
Just a second. You had an altercation with her?
We had, yes.
You had the altercation in October.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And as a result of that altercation, another warrant dropped on you from another incident.
Yes.
So I can imagine that she didn't want to be with you anymore because she had called the police on you as a result of the October incident.
No, that wasn't the reason.
Why? What was the reason?
The reason was because I wasn't good enough at the point because of my situation. I was in a wheelchair. She didn't want nothing to do with me at that point anymore.
Okay.
The only reason she actually led me on when the doctor told me I couldn't walk anymore. I told her, you don't have to be there if you don't want to. And even my mom told her that when she seen her outside the hospital. But she kind of feels some type of way about that. And then when I told her after that, she told me, well, your mom told me the same thing, but I choose to be here because, I love you, this and that. So she led me on, tell me, I'm going to help you. You can come back home with this and that. And then a couple months after the low money I got from the GoFundMe was over, everything I said was an argument, and we started getting into altercation every other day because after the 2 months that I didn't have nothing to basically give her anymore, and being in my situation, it's like she was using that to, take advantage of everything.
What did she take?
She took my clothes, everything that I owned. She took everything that I owned.
Your Honor, I took some of his belongings to an address that he resides at also. I dropped some belongings off over there in Independence, Missouri.
And do you know who lives there?
Yes, his brothers live there.
And what did you bring over there?
I dropped off a couple Tupperware of clothes, Your Honor. I didn't want to bring anything personally to him because I just kind of feared for my life. And so I dropped some belongings off prior to him getting out. And then once he was released out, I kind of took some time to give him some of his rest of his belongings just because I was scared.
How did you give him those belongings after he got out?
I personally handed them to him.
Where?
His address in Independence.
Where his brother also lives?
Yes.
You remember that?
No, I have no idea what she's talking about, Your Honor.
What address is on your driver's license?
Her address, actually.
Okay. Did you call anyone before you went over there with these bags of clothing?
I talked to Blondie and I told him I was going to drop his stuff off. He gave me an address to drop the stuff off.
Can I see that, please? Do you remember that, sir?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, just don't say anything.
Yep.
And she's going to show me.
I actually gave her an address, but nothing ever. Never.
Just a second. So now you're remembering that you gave her.
Yes,
and
I did.
I'd like to see what she has, please. It doesn't say anything. I will give you your belongings. We can move on, but
it's up at the top where I'm asking him for the address.
Address or what?
And he's not sending it, but he did send me an address. I just don't have that with me, Your Honor.
Okay, but I want to tell you something, sir. In this text exchange, she says address or what? And you answer her, enjoy my money while it lasts. You remember that? And then when you got out of jail, you were on probation?
I was already on probation for something else.
What were you on probation for something else?
Probation violation.
Well, you don't go to jail for probation violation unless there's another underlying crime.
Blonsey O'Barron has accused his ex-girlfriend, Sharila Williams, of stealing property and taking money without his permission. Sharila is countersuing Blonsey for property damage.
I'm now addressing your counterclaim. I want you to tell me what happened on October 28th.
So what happened was I came home to him tearing up different items around the house. He tore up a wardrobe of mine. There was some TV damages done. As I came in the house, we were arguing. We had been arguing.
What were you arguing about?
I no longer wanted to be with him just for the past things that I've experienced with him. I was just done and over the drama, the mental abuse, the physical abuse, the verbal abuse. My kids are witnesses to this. I was just done, Your Honor. I wanted to move on. So I called the police, and then they informed me that they were arresting him on another charge for whatever he had going on with his children's mother.
Now you can stand up. Okay. Tell me your last name.
Moore.
Ms. Moore.
Yes.
You and the plaintiff have a child together?
Yes, ma'am.
One child?
Yes, ma'am.
Plaintiff was arrested for an altercation that he had with you.
Right.
When did that happen?
Huh? A couple weeks before he was shot. He had some mail come into my house, and I didn't realize that he had mail delivered. And so he came to my residence, and he was looking for the mail, and I didn't give it to him. And so I asked him to leave a couple of times. He didn't leave, and so then I called the police. And so that's when he had a warrant out for his arrest for basically like disturbance of peace.
Oh, no. That doesn't make sense to me.
He tried to attack her with a crowbar.
Just a second. That doesn't make sense. I've been in this business for much too long, folks, I want my mail and I didn't give it to you, so he went to jail for 6 months. That didn't happen, madam.
No, it was that, like, it kind of got put under domestic because he did become, like, violent. He wanted
that's what I'm asking you.
Yeah, he wanted his mail.
Don't give me this mail business.
He wanted his mail, so he had a crowbar, basically, approaching my vehicle. And so my nephew went out there and tried to stop it. And so they kind of had a back and forth shoving a thing.
Just a second. So now it's getting more serious.
Yeah.
Were you, sir, arrested with regard to that domestic incident?
Yes.
Was there a trial on that case?
Yes.
What happened with that case?
They dropped it and just give me probation.
No, they didn't drop it.
Yes,
If they gave you
the charges.
Just a second. Listen to me carefully. The justice system does not put people on probation unless there is a conviction for something.
Right.
Now, they may have reduced the charges. Did you have a trial or did you plead guilty?
Plead guilty.
That's a different story. You pled guilty to what charge?
Assault.
On whom?
Her nephew.
Her nephew, not her.
No.
Sit down. Okay. Sit down. I can rely on nothing that you tell me. So you were convicted of assault on her nephew. You were placed on probation.
I was already on probation for something else.
What were you on probation for something else?
Probation violation.
Well, you don't go to jail for probation violation unless there's another underlying crime. What was the underlying crime that time?
Driving.
Driving?
Yes.
No, driving is not a crime, sir. You were never on probation for driving.
Yes, I was.
Well, not in this country.
Okay.
Not in this country. Okay. You may be on probation if you have an aggravated DUI. You may be on probation because
suspended license, ma'am.
Well, because you had no license.
Yes.
Even driving on a suspended license, you don't go to jail unless you had something more serious. Before that,
no, Your Honor.
You seem to have an awful lot of legal problems, sir.
I have.
You have an awful lot of legal problems. You were living with this lady. She took out money. She paid bills. Forget it. You used your GoFundMe page. I don't know what for. Here's a phone. I listened to your counterclaim. Your counterclaim didn't say much. It said he destroyed some things in your house.
Yes, Your Honor. Blondie tore up some TVs that were in the house. I have pictures of.
That was in October.
October.
Almost a year ago.
Yes, Your Honor.
Almost a year ago. We're almost a year later. If you destroyed some of these items, where have you been about filing a case against him?
So I realized that the police department, they put out a warrant for the damages that occurred October 28th to an iPhone of mine.
Do you have
that police report?
I'd like to see the police report. You cause any damage to things in her residence?
Actually, what happened...
Just a second to see the yes or no.
No, Your Honor.
Okay, the only thing that was reported damaged was an iPhone.
Yes, Your Honor.
Period. And the police reported that it was broken front and back, nothing else. No TVs, no nothing. That's what the police reported. They spoke to you and that's what you said was damaged. Did you damage her iPhone?
No, ma'am.
How did it get damaged?
What happened was the altercation that happened between me and her, she started. I was in the kitchen and then she was in the bedroom. And then next thing I know, I was opening the fridge. I'm sitting there and then I got a punch that come behind my head, and then she take off running, and went outside and then called the police.
What did you use to call the police? Is not an answer. What did you use to call the police?
My cell phone, Your Honor.
Yuck. Your counterclaim is dismissed. So is your claim, sir. I suggest you stay far away from each other, and I'm going to tell you one thing. If he has violent propensities, you think twice. Be smart.
Your first $100 online is closer than you think. All right, so here's the deal. Want to make money online but don't know where to start? Today I'll show you 5 services you can sell right now. No degree needed. We're talking about skills you can learn quickly, often for free, and start monetizing almost immediately. This isn't some get-rich-quick scheme. This is about leveraging accessible tools and platforms to build a real income stream. The internet has completely leveled the playing field. We're diving into the gig economy, the freelance world where your skills, not your resume, do the talking. I'm going to break down 5 specific services that are in high demand, tell you what you need to get started, and even where to find those first paying clients. So, if you're ready to stop just dreaming about making money online and actually start doing it, you're in the right place. Grab a coffee, maybe a notepad, because I'm about to lay out a roadmap that could genuinely change your financial situation. Let's get into it. Service number 1, graphic design, your visual hustle. All right, first up, let's talk about graphic design. Now, before you click away thinking, Graham, I can't even draw a straight line. Hold on, graphic design in 2024 isn't just about being a Picasso. It's about creating visuals that grab attention and help businesses look professional. Think about it. Every YouTube thumbnail, every Instagram post, every company logo, that's all graphic design. And the demand for this stuff? It's absolutely through the roof. Projects range from simple logos to social media graphics. Businesses, big and small, and individual creators all need these visual assets, constantly. They often don't have the time or the skills to do it themselves, and that's where you come in. You become their go-to person for making them look good online, and trust me, they are willing to pay for that. Now let's talk tools. There's an amazing tool out there called Canva. It's largely free, incredibly user-friendly, and packed with templates. You can literally drag and drop your way to professional-looking designs in minutes. Seriously, Canva has been a game-changer for so many people starting out. This is where platforms like Fiverr and Upwork come into play. On Fiverr, you can create a gig offering a specific service, like I will design a YouTube thumbnail for $20. It's a fantastic way to get started because the clients come to you. Graphic design is a fantastic entry point into the world of online freelancing. Service number 2, writing, words that pay. Next up we have writing. And again, before you say, but Graham, I wasn't an English major, or my grammar isn't perfect, let me stop you right there. The demand for written content online is massive, and you don't need to be Shakespeare to make good money from it. If you can string a sentence together and are willing to learn a few tricks, you can turn words into cash. Think about all the text you read online every single day. Blog posts, website copy, social media captions, email newsletters, product descriptions, even resumes. It all needs to be written by someone. And guess what? A lot of business owners and entrepreneurs are either too busy to write this content themselves, or frankly, they're just not very good at it. That's where you, as a freelance writer, can step in and provide a hugely valuable service. The types of writing services you can offer are incredibly diverse. You could specialize in writing blog posts for businesses looking to improve their SEO and engage their audience. Or maybe you're good at crafting short, punchy social media captions that get likes and comments. You could also offer services like writing website About Us pages, product descriptions for e-commerce stores, or even helping people polish their resumes and cover letters to land their dream jobs. Now, about that grammar concern. Here's the good news, we live in an age of incredible AI tools. Software like Grammarly, Pro Writing Aid, or even the built-in checkers in Google Docs and Word are fantastic for catching spelling mistakes, grammatical errors, and even helping you improve your sentence structure and clarity. You don't have to be a grammar expert from day one. Use these tools as your assistant. They're there to make you look good and ensure your writing is professional and polished. The key is to focus on clear communication and providing value to the client. If you're writing a blog post, it needs to be informative and engaging for the target audience. If you're writing a sales page, it needs to be persuasive. Understand the goal of the content and write to achieve that goal. That's far more important than having a PhD in English literature. So how do you find clients for your writing services? One fantastic approach is to pitch small businesses directly. Think about local businesses in your area or online businesses you admire. Do they have a blog that hasn't been updated in months? Is their website copy a bit lackluster? Reach out to them with a polite, professional email offering your services. You'd be surprised how many will be receptive, especially if you can show them how good content can benefit their business. Another great avenue, just like with graphic design, is freelance platforms. Upwork and Fiverr are also hotspots for writing gigs. You'll find businesses looking for everything from a single blog post to ongoing content creation. Your ability to communicate effectively through writing is a skill that will always be in demand. All right, let's move on to our third service, and this one is a biggie: virtual assistants, or VA work. If you're organized, reliable, and good at managing tasks, this could be an incredible opportunity for you. Think of a virtual assistant as a remote executive assistant, personal assistant, or administrative assistant, all rolled into one. Businesses, entrepreneurs, and busy professionals are increasingly hiring VAs to help them manage their workload and stay organized. So, what exactly does a virtual assistant do? The range of tasks is incredibly broad, which is great because you can often tailor your services to your existing skills or things you enjoy doing. Common VA tasks include email management, calendar management and scheduling appointments, data entry, creating presentations, managing social media accounts, customer service support, and even basic bookkeeping or research. The beauty of VA work is that many of these tasks don't require specialized degrees. They require common sense, attention to detail, good communication skills, and a proactive attitude. If you're the person who always remembers birthdays, keeps their own schedule meticulously organized, or is a whiz at navigating spreadsheets, you already have some of the core skills needed to be a successful VA. Businesses hire VAs because it saves them time and money. Instead of hiring a full-time in-office assistant with all the associated overheads, they can hire a VA remotely for a specific number of hours or for particular tasks. This flexibility is a huge draw for them, and it means there's a constant demand for good, reliable virtual assistants who can help them streamline their operations and focus on their core business activities. How do you get started as a VA? First, identify what skills you have or are willing to learn. Are you great with email? Offer email management. Good with spreadsheets? Offer data entry and reporting. Comfortable with social media? Offer basic social media support. All right, service number 4 is one that's absolutely exploding right now. Video editing. We live in a video-first world. Think about TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, and of course, longer-form YouTube content like this very video. Everyone is consuming video, and everyone, from big brands to individual influencers, is trying to create it. And guess what? Good video editing takes time and skill, which many creators and businesses just don't have. This is where you can come in. If you have an eye for detail, a bit of creativity, and are willing to learn some editing software, you can make serious money editing videos for others. We're not necessarily talking about Hollywood-level productions here. Often clients are looking for clean cuts, adding text overlays, incorporating background music, color correction, and making sure the video flows well and keeps the viewer engaged. What kind of video editing services can you offer? There's a huge range. You could specialize in editing short-form videos like TikTok clips or Instagram Reels, which are super popular and often need quick turnarounds. You could also edit longer YouTube videos, cutting out mistakes, adding B-roll, and creating an engaging narrative. Other options include editing promotional videos for businesses, online course content, or even wedding videos if you want to go down that route. Now let's talk about software. Just like with graphic design, there are options for every budget and skill level. For beginners, mobile apps like CapCut are incredibly powerful and surprisingly easy to learn. You can do a lot of professional-looking edits right from your phone. DaVinci Resolve is another fantastic option. It's professional-grade software with a very generous free version. If you're looking to invest, Adobe Premiere Pro is the industry standard, but it does have a steeper learning curve and a subscription cost. The key is to pick one piece of software and really learn it. Watch tutorials on YouTube. There are countless free resources out there that will teach you everything from basic cuts to advanced effects. Practice by editing your own videos, or even re-editing existing footage you find online for practice purposes only, of course. The more comfortable you get with the software, the faster and more efficient you'll become. The demand for video content is not going away, it's only increasing. Finally, let's talk about our 5th service, social media management. In today's digital age, every business, from the local coffee shop to a multinational corporation, knows they need to be on social media. But here's the secret. Many of them either don't have the time, don't know how, or simply don't enjoy managing their social media presence effectively. This creates a massive opportunity for people like you to step in and get paid to post, engage, and grow their online communities. What does a social media manager actually do? It can involve a variety of tasks, such as creating and scheduling social media posts, responding to comments and messages, growing the follower base, running basic ad campaigns, and analyzing performance to see what's working. Essentially, you become the voice and face of a brand on platforms like Instagram, Facebook, X, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Pinterest. You don't need to be a viral sensation yourself to be a good social media manager. What you do need is a good understanding of how different social media platforms work what kind of content resonates with audiences, basic copywriting skills, and good organizational skills to plan content calendars. Reliability and consistent communication with your clients are also super important. One of the best places to start offering social media management services is with local businesses in your community. Think about restaurants, boutiques, real estate agents, dentists, or gyms. Many of them have a very basic or non-existent social media presence. You can approach them and offer to take over their social media for a monthly fee. For example, you could charge a local shop $100 to $300 per month to handle one or two of their social media accounts, including creating a certain number of posts per week and engaging with their followers. When pitching to local businesses, focus on the benefits for them. Explain how a strong social media presence can increase their visibility, attract new customers, build brand loyalty, and ultimately drive sales. Many small business owners are wearing too many hats already and would be thrilled to delegate this to someone who can do it effectively. Show them examples of successful social media accounts in their industry, even if they aren't ones you've managed. Beyond local businesses, you can also find clients online. Entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, and online course creators often need help managing their social media to build their personal brand and connect with their audience. You can find these clients on freelance platforms like Upwork, or by networking in online communities and Facebook groups related to their industries. The world of social media management is booming, and it's a fantastic way to build a flexible, remote career. If you're social media savvy and looking for a flexible way to earn money online, social media management is definitely worth exploring. So, there you have it, 5 incredibly accessible online services you can start offering today to make real money, no fancy degree required. We've covered graphic design, writing, virtual assistants, video editing, and social media management. Each one of these has a low barrier to entry and a high ceiling for potential income. The tools are out there, many of them free, and the clients are definitely looking for your help. Your first $100 is one direct message away. Seriously, pick one skill that resonated with you, do a little practice, and reach out to one potential client. Comment below which skill you'll try. I'll reply with tips. The journey to making money online doesn't have to be complicated. It starts with taking that first step, learning a valuable skill, and putting yourself out there. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.